Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Syntax Adda. My name is Ravi Ranjan and today I am going to cover builder design pattern. So as we know in Java, right, sometimes in order to create, object of a class, we need to know all the properties of that class, right? Let's say we have the class C, right? If we want to create the object, right, we need to know all the properties of this class in order to instantiate, right? This class will have different properties, right? So in order to create this one, the object of this class, we need to know all the properties of this class in order to instantiate. So sometimes it becomes very, difficult for the client to know what all fields they need to pass to create the object of this class, right? So it means like if, client want to create the complex object, right? So it will be very difficult, right? And let's say there might be some situation, right? This class is for written for some database configuration or network configurations. These are the things, right? Then client might not be knowing all those properties, but still they want to create the object of it. So builder design pattern helps in order to solve this kind of issue, right? So in builder design pattern, allow you to create the object of any complex class without knowing the properties of that class. We'll see how, first things we'll see how builder design pattern helps to create the object of complex, you know, complex class, and how builder object helps you to create configuration objects. Okay, so configuration objects. So we'll see at least these two examples. Okay. So second one is from the real world example, and this one we'll try to understand in a with a basic example. Okay. So let's discuss the first scenario, right? When we have complex object in place. So let's say there is one client. Okay. So this is the client C. They want, like, this client wants a house to be built. Let's say simple house to be built, or we can say they want the object of simple house, right? So what they will do? First they will go to construction manager. There is a manager, let's say the construction manager, CM. Okay, this is the construction manager, right, which manages different house builder. So they will have different house builder. Let's say they have different house builder. So these builders will have expertise in you know um, building that kind of house. So let's say this builder is expert in building simple house, so we call it simple house builder. Let's say this builder is expert in building the fancy house, so let's say this is fancy house builder. Okay, now this construction manager will have some certain template, right? Like how for in order to create house, they will have some plan, right? What are the basic things first we need to create a house, right? So what they can have, so this is the template. Let's say they will have, like, okay, build a foundation. Okay, so let's say they will say, okay, foundation is very important, like, so build foundation. Okay, second thing, what they can have, build walls, right? Build walls, then paint, color, right? Then they can have what, install floor, so they can have the floor, right? They can install the floor, and then finally there may be others also, and then finally, right, and finally get house. So these are the, like, basic templates which will be followed by simple house builder and fancy house builder. So in Java term, we can say this is the interface, right? And this interface will have certain set of abstract methods, right, which will be implemented by these classes: simple house builder and your fancy house builder. So let's say this is the basic house and this is your fancy house. Okay, so they are going to build it, right? And construction manager, so how we are seeing, so at a client point of view, they want simple house object to be created. But if you see, there is a certain complexity while getting the object of this simple house, or fancy house, right? So there is certain complexity. So client side, again I'm repeating, so client side, they this client wants a simple house, right? So they are approaching this construction manager. So construction manager will have will have the house builder template, right? They will have the house builder, and they will have the different builders, let's say simple house builder and fancy house builder. And based on that, construction manager first will ask either of these. So we have two example only here, two builders. So um, either of them to build the house as per the client's requirement, right? And they will build the house based on by following this template, and they will give back this house to construction manager, right? And then construction manager will give this house back to your client. Hope this is clear. And now we are going to see this the same example how we can implement this. So let's open this workspace. I'm going to create one project. Let's say builder design pattern. So this project is created. So I will first start with the house. First, I will create a class called house, right? Okay, sorry, I forgot about this house. So if you see here, right? So this house, right? So this house, so this house, so this house is nothing but your class, right? And this class object, this client is asking for, right? So this will have foundation, this will have walls, colors, right? Floor, right? These are the basic things which the class house class will have. Okay. So now let's go back to our workspace, and we'll create, we'll first define the different, properties of this house. So we'll say private string, and let's say foundation. Okay. Then private string, let's say walls, private string, say color, private string, let's say floor. So I'm trying to just create a basic, class here, and I will just create a constructor in IntelliJ IDE. You can go to this hamburger menu, right? And you will see here the code. Click on generate and go to constructor. Here, since I want to create a constructor by choosing all these fields, right? So I will select all, and then I will click OK. So this has created the constructor. Now I want to create the getter also. I don't want to don't want a setter here, because I don't want client to set any value for this. Okay. So what I will do, again I will go to hamburger menu, then I will go to code, then I will say generate, and I want getter. Okay. So getter, I will select all these fields and I will click OK. So we have the basic class ready. Okay. So this is the house class which is ready now. Now let's see, we'll define a the template. Template was what? It was interface, right? So let's say I am going to have one house builder template. So this is house builder. Okay. And it will have some set of abstract method, right? So we'll say void build foundation. Okay. Then void build walls, right? Then void let's say paint color. Then let's say void install floor, you can say, right? And finally house get house, and it will finally it will give the house. Okay. So this is the basic template for any house builders who are going to implement this template. Okay. Now let's create, I'm taking only two example. One is a simple house builder and one is your fancy house builder. Simple house builder. Okay. And this class is going to implement house builder, implements house builder. Okay. So since house builder is the interface, so we have to implement all the methods, abstract method, which are inside your house builder, right? So I will select all. So first let's declare one, because this simple house builder is has to has to return the house object, right? So let's say private house. Okay. Now, we want to build a foundation here, right? So what we can do here, let's say this dot house is equal to new house, and I will say simple house foundation, and then the rest of the things I'll get it house dot get walls, then house dot get color, house dot get floor, right? So this is going to, when this build foundation is being called, right? So they will just create the house with the foundation, right? And for this one, right, how they will get the value. So first we need to create one default one constructor here. Okay, we should have one default constructor. So we'll create one default constructor here. So we'll say public simple house builder, right? And this will return this house. I'll say we are going to just initialize this house class from here, right? I'll say house, and I will initialize with all the empty string. Okay, walls also I don't want, let's say. Then this is colors, and this is your floor, right? We have created this default constructor, right, where fields are empty string here. Okay, now let's go here, and in this just copy paste. I don't want to write it, right? So just, since this is the wall, right, so I will focus on building the wall here. I'll just remove this. I'll say house dot get foundation, right? And this wall I will say, since I'm focused on only creating the walls, so I will say simple house walls. Okay, the same thing, we'll go to the paint. We'll not focus on this first. Let's remove this. I'll say house dot get foundation. This is fine. Walls also we are not worrying about when this method is being called, right? So what we are going to do, I'll say simple house color. Okay, I'll say, or let's say some color, let's say white. Okay, then I will take this, just copy it, we'll go to the next one. Okay, here I'm going to create the house only with, so I will just remove this. I'll say house dot get color. This is fine. And floor I'm going to wait, sorry, I will say simple house floor. Okay, so these are ready. So when we are calling foundation, let's say foundation method, then this simple house builder will only create the simple house foundation. If they want to create the house simple house with only wall, so they will just call the walls, right? When they want to paint color, only paint color, then it will only focus on color, right? Then if you want to, like, if simple house builder want to just install floor, then they will only install floor, right? And finally we are going to return this dot house. Okay, so this is fine. So you understood this one. Now let's say we are going to we are going to create similar house builder which is focused on creating the fancy house. So it will be similar one only, we'll just copy paste. Okay, so let's say we have fancy house builder. Okay, and this is again going to implement the same. Let's say implements house builder, right? And we'll just copy paste everything from here, this class, to here, copy, and we'll just paste it out here. Okay, only I will change this name to fancy house, this constructor name fancy house builder. Okay, and I will just give the name as fancy. Okay, fancy house wall. We'll give some color, let's say blue, and we'll give it a fancy house floor. Okay, so this is the second big house builder we built, right? Now let's create a what that is the construction manager, right? So now we'll create the construction manager class. Okay, construction manager. So this class, what it will do, first, this construction manager will have all the house builder reference, right? So let's say private house builder, and let's say builder. So based on the builder, they will, the construction manager will ask them to construct the house, right? So let's have one, constructor here, public construction manager, and it will take, this house builder is the argument, right? And let's say this dot builder equal to builder, right? Now we'll define one. Once they will have builder, then construction manager will ask them to, construct the house, right? So let's say public and white construct house. Okay. So now construction manager is going to, instruct the that certain house builder, whichever will be passed here, whether it's a simple house builder or your fancy house builder, right? And they will say, okay, do this task or construct this house. So we'll say builder dot, build foundation, builder, let's say build walls, then builder build, sorry, paint color, builder build, sorry, that install floor, and then finally public, and give me the object or return me the house, right? And finally get house. Okay, and here we'll say return builder get house, right? So builder will return the house. And then, so what construction manager are doing? So construction manager will have different, house builder implementation class. Means house builder implementation classes are your a simple house builder or fancy house builder, right? So based on that, these will be passed here to the construction manager, right? And then construction manager will say, based on the client requirement, okay, build these things are right. These things are required, so they will build it, right? And then give me the house back, so that construction manager can return the house back to client. Okay, we'll create one client or main class to test this out. So we'll create one main class, and this will have public static void main, right? So what I told first, if the client is there, so client will approach construction manager. So let's create the object of construction manager. So construction manager, let's say manager equal to new construction manager, but this construction manager is expecting which type of house you want, right? So you will say what kind of house you want, right? So house builder, let's say you said you want simple house, right? So we'll create the object of simple house builder here. Okay, so I will say simple house, the new simple house builder, right? So created the simple house builder. So we are passing this simple house builder here, right? And once we passed, right, now manager has the that builder, right? Now manager will say, okay, manager dot construct house. So manager is asking, okay, construct this house, start constructing. And once this is done, then give me the house. So manager dot get house. So what is going to return? The object of house, right? Finally, it is going to return you object of simple house. Okay, so we will have this simple house, right? And now we can just print out the details. So let's say system dot out dot println, and let's say I'm saying simple house details, right? And system dot out dot println, and we'll say simple house dot, let's see the what is the foundation, right? Same way, just copy paste. Okay, I'll say get walls, I'll say get color, I'll say get floor, right? And let's run this. So well, we are able to get, right? So we are able to get a simple house. So when client is asking, right, when we want to create the house object, right, and that is of, depends on what kind of house we want, right? So we ask for the simple house, right? So they are giving simple house foundation, house with a simple house foundation with simple house walls, white, right, color, and then simple house floor, right? And let's say if the client is asking for, let's say your fancy house, right? So I'll just copy paste and I'll say, so again the construction manager is, looking for fancy house builder object here, right? So we'll pass that. fancy house builder, right? And then we'll pass this. Let's say create the object 1. That's fine. And this is going to give you fancy house, right? We'll say fancy house, and this one also I will change. This one also I will change manager 1. And then instead of this, simple house, I will say fancy house. Okay. And I will say this is fancy house object I want. Okay. So just let's run this and see the output. So see, we are able to get the object of fancy house as well. So fancy house foundation, fancy house walls, blue, color is blue, then fancy house floor. So this is, you saw, right? This is the kind of complex, object you want to create, right? The object which has lot of to do, like, internally, right, to provide you, ultimately the object of that, class. So we'll look into some other example, right, from the real world, right? Like, let's say, where I told about the configuration objects, right? That we'll see, like, how we can use the, that if we'll have the, database setup, how we can use this builder design pattern to build the object of that, database configuration. Okay. So hope this part is clear. If you like my video, please like, share it with your friends, and also don't forget to subscribe my channel for any further latest video. Thank you so much.